milestones and victories. This show talks up to people who have become the game changers and the change makers of the society. Today we have one such change maker with us, Rashi. So Rashi is a mental health advocate, a QPR instructor, and an engineering graduate. She has worked with organizations like Change.org, ISEC, Teach in India, and All India Suicide Prevention Foundation. Her work has been printed, and yes, she is a very good blogger and she has written. Now let's start your story. So you were this normal college going girl. Your life was around your parents, your friends, your clubs, your activities, and then now you are suddenly this extraordinary, strong change maker of the society. What was your turning point? How did this drastic change come?
So, the turning point for me was in the year 2019. That was the turning point. That was the year that everything changed for me. In the beginning of the year, I lost my younger brother to suicide. So, obviously, that was a huge shock for all of us, for me, for my family. And before that, I was, like you said, I was in a bubble and I was just thinking about college and my life ahead and what the future holds and everything. And all of a sudden, everything just came to a stop and my life just flipped. And when something like this happens, something so drastic, I think that's when you really start introspecting, and that's when you really try to think about everything that you've done up to that point and everything that you became a huge turning point for me. And I realized that I wanted to work in this field of mental health and field of suicide prevention. And I realized that I couldn't help my brother, but if through his story and if through the work that I do, if I can help even a single person, that would be more than enough. So I started you know doing something. I wanted to just get into this field and to start doing something for anyone out there. But like it is with anyone, any beginner, you don't know where to start. You don't know how to go about your work. You want to work for a cause, but you don't know what the first step is. And that's when I think the another major turning point for me was the change.org fellowship, for which I got selected. And it was the She Creates Change Learning Lab. And through that, I started my campaign. And that's how my journey as a mental health advocate began.
This is really spectacular. Your vision has certainly become the ray of hope for so many lives, Rashi. So I'm really curious. So how do you work and what does a regular working week in your life looks like?
So, as of now, my working week is very stagnant. It's absolutely like doing nothing all day. But I try to work on my blog. I try to write. I try to take sessions online, and I try to engage with people if anyone needs any sort of help, because now more than ever people are confined to their homes, so they are reaching out to me and they are feeling a little anxious. They don't know what to do. So I think the number of people who are struggling right now is increasing because they are confined and they don't know whom to reach out to. So I try to keep myself busy through that and just interacting with people and doing my thing. So that is now. But yeah, like you said, the last year has been really eventful. A lot happened during this 1 year that I took a gap. And during that time I started my campaign. I launched this campaign with change.org, and this campaign was basically surrounding suicide prevention. And through this campaign, I asked the government to launch a national helpline number for suicide prevention, because we still don't have that in our country. So again, that campaign happened, which was a huge success. It went viral. It received 2 lakh signatures, which is amazing. And people were talking about it. Media outlets were talking about it. They were reaching out. We got featured in The Logical Indian, Quint, and Midday, and all these various news outlets. And that's when I realized that mental health was coming to the forefront. People were actually talking about mental health in the mainstream media, which was again amazing. It was a huge thing for us. And we also met government officials, so that was another thing that happened. And just once I launched this campaign, it's just been crazy after that, because I started taking sessions in schools, in colleges. I started writing about it. I launched my own blog. I was, working with Teach for India. I interned with them. I also worked with ISIC, and where I met you. And through ISIC, it was again beautiful experience, because I got to work with refugees. I got to work on their mental health and just understand their perspective and their lives. So yeah, so I think my work in this field and the past year has been amazing.
Yeah, I mean, certainly it has been eventful and so many people meeting you. Ashi, can you just keep your camera a little up?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hurdles are inevitable, but they are important for us to grow. And you must have faced some hurdles on your journey up, right? So, how did you overcome them?
Of course, like anyone who starts, something new, something fresh, I definitely faced a lot of hurdles. The first hurdle was more like a mountain. It was like a huge truck that hit me, was losing my brother, losing the most important person in my life. And that also, again, that's what started, or made me, work in this field, or may turn me into this advocate that I am today. But again, it was a huge loss, and it was something that I'm still not over. I'm still, trying to work through it, trying to cope, trying to work through the pain. And again, it will never truly be okay. But that was something that really was a huge setback for me. And again, after that, I also struggled with my own mental health. I was diagnosed with anxiety, insomnia, and PTSD right after, a couple of months after my brother passed away. And again, that took a huge toll on me, because I was on medicines, I was going for therapy. The medicines had their own side effects. I was also trying to cope with all of my college work, my projects, internship, exams. So again, those were tough, and those were difficult, times for me. Another hurdle that I faced, that was right after I, decided that I want to work in the field of mental health. That was again making this huge decision of leaving a job that I had in my hand. I had a IT job in my hand. I was placed in this company. I was getting a good package. All of my friends were, going off, and they were starting their own jobs, and they were going to work, they were going to earn. But I decided to, stay back and not do that. So that was again like a huge decision that I made. Again, I was not sure what the outcome was going to be, because you never know. There are no like right or wrong decisions. There are just decisions, and they lead you on different paths. So that was also a hurdle, an obstacle that I faced, that, just thinking about, is this the right thing to do? I won't be working for a year. I won't have a job. I will just, dedicate all of my time to this. So yeah, so again, all of these hurdles were there. And I think I have a feeling that I overcome them in some sense.
Yes, Rashi, definitely. I think you took a selfless decision, when you chose change making, because here you are helping the world. You're not just sticking to your own needs. I think it really takes a brave person to do that, Rashi. Hats off to you. It
Thank you
was
so
a sacrifice. So,
Thank
after
you.
a job, right after you have been graduated, you know, did your parents have any issues when, you were leaving the job or something?
Actually, no. My parents have always been a huge support system for me. They just told me that, at the end of it, it's your decision. And that's what they said. They said that, there are no right or wrong decisions. It's just take one and just do what your heart is telling you, do what your gut is telling you. And if this is, something that you're passionate about, if this is something you want to do, and as long as this makes you happy, this is what we want you to do. We don't want you to, sulk in some IT job that you don't like or you don't want to be there. So obviously they were very supportive.
I really hope that every parent of our nation should be like that,
Oh,
support.
yes,
Yes,
I
yeah,
swear. My parents are really awesome, and I hope every parent, learns from them.
seriously. So, Rashi, what has been your best moment in this journey?
Oh, I've had multiple beautiful moments because this year itself has been so surreal and so beautiful. But to count some moments out, I think the first day that I launched my petition, the day that I launched it and it went online. I think that was a huge feat for me because, I was so scared that I wasn't sure if this was the right thing to do. I wasn't sure if, anyone was going to respond. I didn't know how people were going to take it. And I definitely didn't, think that it would receive 2 lakh signatures. And the moment that happened, I realized that, okay, this is something that people are resonating with. This is something that people agree with, and people believe that mental health needs to be addressed, and our government needs to be more proactive in talking about and creating policies for mental health. So, just getting that sort of a validation from the entire country was, I think, amazing. It was a beautiful moment for me. I still remember how happy I was when people started reaching out and they started talking about the petition, and they wanted to write about it, they wanted to spread it, they wanted to, take it forward, and people showed interest. So I think that was amazing. And also when people started reaching out with their own stories, they said that this inspired them to talk about their struggles and seek help themselves. So again, it was a huge and a very rewarding moment for me. And very recently, actually, the government has launched a national helpline number in collaboration with um, this organization called Empower Minds. So I think that's amazing. Again, a 24/7 helpline number, which is readily available to the entire country. So I think that was a huge day for us, for all of us, everyone who's involved with this.
So India is the country that has maximum population of youth. But the same segment of people have put India into the in the most depressed countries of the world. The youth, who should be exuberant, joyful, and happy, they are actually victims and patients of depression. Why is it so? Where are we going wrong?
Right. So again, like you said, this data and these stats are really devastating and very shocking because it is true that a lot of the youth population in India is suffering from depression, anxiety, and other mental health issues. And I think there are a couple of reasons for this. The first being that, we as a country were still very quiet about this issue. We don't talk enough about it. We still stigmatize it, and there's a taboo attached to it. So this is the reason why a lot of people don't come out and talk about it openly, and that's why they feel guilty and ashamed to reach out for help. So that's one reason. Another reason is that we don't have enough mental health professionals in India. There's a huge shortage of these workers, in be it psychologists, psychiatrists, mental health professionals, therapists, and doctors. So again, the fact that we don't have enough doctors to address this issue in the first place, then where are we supposed to go if someone is having some problem? Where is this person supposed to go if we don't have the kind of resources that other countries have? So I think that's where India is lacking, in terms of having these resources and having mental health as part of primary healthcare system. Also, and the third reason is the fact that our government is not prioritizing mental health. There is this budget called the interim budget, And in 2019's interim budget, there's a national mental health program, and this program had very low funds. And on top of that, those funds were reduced even further, which just goes to show that, the government does not prioritize mental health. They think that it is not important. They don't think that it is a huge issue in our country. And because of that, the population is suffering because they are not receiving enough attention. They're not enough policies in place, enough initiatives and campaigns in place, which gives them that thing that, they can go and seek help. So I think negligence, on behalf of the government, is another reason why depression, anxiety, and other mental health issues are on the rise in our country.